Well, while at the APEC summit, Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, issued a joint statement on Syria, calling on all parties fighting there to join the peace process. They also said they are committed to maintaining Syria's territorial integrity. Let's find out more about the significance of this statement. With me is our Middle East reporter, Sebastian Usher. Sebastian Usher, is this a crucial statement?
No, I don't think it's a crucial statement. I mean, a year ago it might have been, when Russia and the US essentially were still very much at loggerheads. I mean, they backed opposing sides during most of the conflict. But the way the conflict has worked itself out during the last year and a half, mostly through the Russian intervention, has meant that the whole landscape on the ground has changed. And I think the US has kind of accepted that they can't do that much about it. The calls which used to divide Russia and the US particularly was over President Assad and the demands that the Americans issued again and again that he must stand down, he can't be part of any final deal. That has kind of gone quieter. Mr. Putin and Mr. Trump made similar kind of statement earlier this year in Germany. I think there's nothing controversial about saying that they want to join together to defeat ISIS. The mechanism of how they prevent these competing forces in the vacuum now created by ISIS' defeat is crucial. This doesn't address this in any great detail. This is a statement that was put together by experts, by the foreign ministers of both countries, for them basically to give the nod to, but they didn't give any kind of huge weight to it. They held just a brief meeting to give their agreement. Mr. Putin said it's very important, but we'll have to see how it works on the ground.
That is interesting in terms of the way forward for a peace process, but fighting is still going on against IS. In Iraq specifically, the recapture of Rawa is underway. Tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, essentially, IS has been pushed into its last pocket of territory in Iraq, right over to the west on the border. And the main town there was captured a week ago. The offensive, which has been very rapid in the past few months, has slowed down because of weather conditions. They've now relaunched it. There's one town that's left. That doesn't mean that IS has lost all its villages, all the places that it can kind of essentially hide out in. That's the big question. And over the border in the Syrian conflict, the last town there on the Syrian side, Abu Kamal, which the Syrian army announced perhaps prematurely a day or two ago they'd taken, doesn't seem to be quite as clear-cut. IS is still fighting there. What's interesting about that, and it kind of very briefly plays into what Mr. Putin and Mr. Trump said, is that there's a feeling that the Syrian army announced this taking of the town before they'd actually done it, in order to tell all the other forces, this is ours. Don't come near it. This is a done deal. And this shows the kind of tensions that there are, because as we know, the US-backed forces, the SDF, the Kurdish Arab fighters, took Raqqa, the stronghold of ISIS in Syria, and they might have moved down. Syrian government forces raced to this town to take it. So, you know, we are concerned that confrontations on many different levels could still be taking place, particularly in this area. Mr. Trump, Mr. Putin are essentially saying we will do everything we can to ensure that that doesn't happen.
All right, we'll keep an eye on how that Rawa offensive goes and anything else that comes from it. Sebastian Usher, our BBC Middle East correspondent, thank you very much.